In this video, we're going to install a great WordPress theme, and I'm going to show you how to set up and configure it so that you can build your pages quickly. I'm Tim from Real Website Hints, and it's my mission to help show you the best and easiest ways of getting started building quality websites. I test website building tools and look for the most powerful and easy to use tools that will grow with you as you build and grow your website. I take my job of recommending tools and showing you the best and easiest ways of building websites seriously. I approach these videos in the same way I would approach helping a friend get their website started. So if you have any questions, or if you think that something isn't quite clear, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I'm here to help you guys make a great website. I wanted to be sure to break down each part of this tutorial into manageable steps. So each step is a separate video. You'll find a link to the entire playlist in the description below and at the end of this video so you can watch one section after another. Also, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can easily come back and find these videos. In the previous video, we set up hosting and configured WordPress. If you missed that video, click on the link above me or in the description below to go back and watch that video. It's really important to select a good quality hosting company and to make sure that you have WordPress configured properly before you start building your website. In this tutorial series, we're working with the Divi theme. Divi 3 is the theme that I personally use for my website, and it's the theme I recommend to my friends when they ask me what they should use to build their websites with. The main reason why I like the Divi theme is that it has an easy to use front-end page builder. There are a ton of options for pre-made pages that you can use to build your site with. So you don't have to start from scratch, and in the next video, I'll show you how to use and install those pre-made pages. I think that the number one feature that I like about the Divi theme is the development team behind Divi. I've been using the theme for the last several years, and I continue to be amazed by the innovations and the improvements that they continue to bring. I actually wish that when I first found the theme, that I didn't mess around with the lower tiered plans. I should have just purchased the lifetime plan right from the beginning. It might seem expensive at first, but the way I look at it now is that it's actually a rather inexpensive one-time fee to pay for an awesome website development team that just keeps working in the background to help make my site better. It's pretty awesome. So if you haven't purchased the Divi theme yet, I've included a sponsored link in the description below, and you can also learn more about the Divi theme by going to realwebsitehints.com/Divi. Using my sponsored link costs you nothing extra, and it provides me with a little bit of compensation that helps to support tutorials like this and the testing and reviews that I do on my YouTube channel and on my website. So I thank you for your support. So now let's go ahead and get started installing a WordPress theme, in this case the Divi theme, and configuring it so that we can start building our website. So let's go ahead and dive in and get started. So after you click on the link to Divi, you can sign in to the Divi theme, and Divi is made by Elegant Themes. You click the login button here, and then that will take you to the members area. We can scroll down here. We've got this plugin here, which is the Divi Builder plugin, and that will allow you to use the features of Divi on other themes, but I definitely recommend that you use the Divi theme, which has got the builder built right into it. Another great plugin to use is the Bloom plugin, which is used for email opt-ins. It allows email opt-in pop-ups and sort of automating some of your email opt-in features, and we'll talk about that later on in this series. Go ahead and scroll down. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download the Divi theme, just like that, and you're going to click on the theme package, and it's going to download to your computer. And we're going to go back to the back end of our website, and if you've logged out of your website and you need to log back in, all you do is you go to the URL that you set up your website on, /wp-admin, and then there you can log in. Okay, so from the back end of our website here, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Appearances, Themes, and we're going to click on Add New, and then we want to click on this Upload Theme button, and click Choose File. And then here I am. I'm in that folder that we talked about before, the folder where we're going to keep all of the files for our website. And when I downloaded the Divi theme files, I put that into my plugins and themes folder here. And now I've got the file here. And you want to leave it zipped. You want to make sure you don't unzip this file. So if your computer automatically unzips files, you want to turn that setting off because you need to keep the file zipped to be able to upload it to your website. So just go ahead and click on that, and then do Choose, and then click Install Now. And then click Activate. And there we go. So now the first thing that we want to do after installing the Divi theme is go over here to the Divi button here, which has just appeared. So this is where a lot of the Divi settings are going to be. And then you want to click on Theme Options. And then the first thing I like to do is just make sure that I put in the username and API key so the Divi theme will automatically update. Because it's really important on your website to keep all of the software on it up to date. So to do that, you can go back to your member area on the Elegant Themes website and then click on Account. And then right here where it says Your API Key, click on that and then just copy your API key from here and then go back to your website. Type in your API key here, or paste in your API key here, and then add in your username. And then click Save Changes. And when you get that little check mark, that means that you're all ready to go and you're going to be able to get all of the automatic updates to the Divi. So let's go back over here and click on General. And this is sort of the general settings for the Divi theme. Alright, so the first thing I like to do when I'm setting up any website, basically, is upload the logo, because that's sort of like the main look of our website. If you don't have a logo, you don't have to worry about that. It's not that important, but something that I like to do, and I definitely encourage you to get a logo early on in designing and building your website. So to upload your logo, you can just simply click on Upload here, click on Select Files, or you can drag it and drop it. Go back to your website folder there, and I've got mine under images that have been optimized, because I've already optimized this logo. And then just click on this. I think that 300 wide by 150 is a good size for a logo on the Divi theme. And then click Choose. And that's what I've done, but sort of anything in between that. So 150 by 150, 250 by 150, something like that. But I think 150 is a good height for a logo on the Divi theme. And then go click Set as Logo. And if you've created a favicon, and a favicon is that little icon that you usually see at the top of your browser window right by the URL of the website, you can add that here. And then the fixed navigation bar, that's going to keep the navigation bar, so the menu of your website, up at the top of the screen all the time. I like that setting, so I'm going to leave that on. And now we can start using the colors that we've picked for our default colors in our color palette. And by changing these settings right here, it's going to make it really easy for us to continue using those colors that we have in our color palette regularly on our website. So to do that, go ahead and open up that file that you hopefully downloaded with the colors on your website that I showed you how to do in the last video. And then what I like to do is just take the main color, copy the hex color code for it, and click on this button right here, and then you just paste in the hex color code there. So now we've got our main color there. And then sort of this next color, we'll make that the next color. Just click there, change the hex color code right there. And then just keep on doing that right down the line here. And doing this process, it might seem a little bit tedious right now, and you kind of want to, maybe you just want to dive in and start making your website, but this is really going to make building your website a lot faster, and it's going to save you a ton of time in the future. And then you might just want to set this to like a gray color or a black or, something like that, just so that you know that you're using these colors consistently. Or if you already know you want to use one of the lighter or darker variations on the color scheme, you can load those in right here. Let's go ahead and scroll down. Now this option here is when you're writing blog posts. If the first picture that you put into your blog post, you want to have that be the main thumbnail image of your blog post, you can turn this on here. I generally like to use a custom thumbnail so that way the image doesn't repeat twice, once as the thumbnail and then a second time inside the post, but that's up to you. This here will have it on your blog page so that the full content of your blog shows up on your your main blog feed page. I definitely like to have that off so that people can quickly scan the different posts that I have and see what they want to read. So we leave that off. And this here, if you're building an online store, the Divi theme comes with some specific settings for WooCommerce, and so that's what this is talking about right here. Now, if you're using your website to build up your email mailing list, there's a special opt-in form module that's part of the Divi theme, and so if you enter in your MailChimp API key right here, it will automatically use your MailChimp account to capture the email addresses when you use that form. So that's where you can enter this in. If you're using Aweber, you can follow the instructions in Aweber to do that right here. This regenerate MailChimp lists or regenerate Aweber lists will automatically pick up the new lists that you add in your MailChimp or Aweber account and display them as the lists that you want to add people to when you use that email opt-in module. Okay, then when we scroll down here a little bit farther, we've got this show Facebook icon, Twitter icon, Google Plus icon, our RSS icon, and this is for your social media accounts. And so if you have all of these accounts, you might want to leave that on. If you don't have all of those accounts, you want to turn that off, and there's different places in the footer and in the header where you can choose to have these display. And then you would add the URL to your Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, etc. account right here, and your RSS icon URL, usually in WordPress, that would be the name of your website /feed/ and then if you're getting more advanced and you're using a specific version of RSS, it'd be the name of your website /feed/ RSS2, for example, if you want it to display the RSS2 feed for your website. And then here we go, we've got the default number of products to display and posts to display on different pages, so you can modify that there, how you want the date format to show up. And basically the rest of these settings you want to leave alone. This Google font setting, Google font subsets, so if you're using a different language other than English and you want to use fonts that relate to that other language, you want to turn this on. If you're using English, you want to leave that off. And if you're making a lot of longer pages and you want to have a back to top button on all of your pages, you can turn that on. Smooth scrolling is pretty self-explanatory. And there we go. And now the most important thing here is to click the Save Changes button so that those get saved. And we saw a little checkbox. That means that it did that. Okay, and the navigation settings I think are fine. The layout settings, there might be some things you want to adjust here. You can choose to have comments turned on or off on your post. And you can also click on these buttons to decide which information about the post is going to appear below the title. So you can turn off the author, turn on the author, date, categories, etc. And then with these tabs here, we've got additional settings for the layout of our blog posts. And then over here under integration, there's a specific thing that you want to add, like tracking codes, for example. This is where you would add that information. So if you're using Google Analytics, you could add the Analytics tracking code right here. And then we already dealt with the updates. That was the first thing we did. So there we go. So that's the basic Divi settings taken care of. Now let's start adjusting some of the look settings that are part of the Divi theme. So to do that, we go to the theme customizer here. And then if we click on general settings, we've got this site identity, which is pretty much the same settings as you'll find that we've already adjusted in WordPress. And then there's one additional setting here for a site icon, which shows up in some particular apps, but not terribly important to deal with that right now. Typography, I think that this is a really important thing to adjust. And what I like to do is I like to make sure my text is big enough to read. So I like to kind of bump everything up, usually by about 2 on the font size, just to make sure that it's really easy for my viewers to read what's on my website. You do the same for the header text, just bump it up by 2. And then here, for the body link color, I want to use the color that we already have established for our website. Now, unfortunately, this color picker doesn't pull those colors that we already changed. That will affect the items that are in the Divi, like the Divi modules for example. So we're going to have to pull a color again from our file that we have. That's why it's so handy to have that file. I'm going to click on that. We use this blue color here for this body link color. So it's still blue, which is kind of a normal color to see links in, but we're going to use our blue color just to sort of, make it a little bit more special and sort of really customize it to the look of our site. Let's go ahead and just change that. Body text color, I would actually recommend going a little bit darker on the body text color just to make sure that it's really easy to read. And I would do the same with the header color. You probably want to make them the same color, you might want to make them a little bit different. That's up to you. And then also under the typography section, we've got a choice of the fonts that we want to use. So for the header font, I chose to use Comforta for this, and for the body font, I chose Lato. And I thought that for this website, that was a really great look. And if you need some help deciding which fonts work well together, I'll put a link to the bottom to a couple articles that I read about how to pick and how to find font options. And actually, the Elegant Themes website's got a great suggestion. They even have a download that you can use where you can look at some different font combinations to help you decide what's going to look great on your website. Okay, and then scroll back up to the top and go back over. And the background, I definitely think that leaving the background color just the way it is totally fine, so we're going to leave that there. And then the header and navigation. The header format, we're going to leave that alone for right now. Primary menu bar, again, we want to change the active link color and that to our custom color. So I already have that here, so I'm just going to paste that in. And then the drop-down menu link color, I'm just going to paste that in. And then if you want to make the menu larger or smaller, you can adjust that right here, and that's going to change this menu header area right up here. Secondary menu bar isn't showing right now, but that would show up above here, and then so you can decide what color you want that. I'm not going to use that in this tutorial, but just so you know, that's where the settings are for that. And the fixed navigation settings, we're going to talk about that later on in this series. And then the header elements allow you to add social icons, your phone number, email to the secondary menu bar, which we're not going to be doing in this tutorial. The footer, if we want to adjust this designed by Elegant Themes and powered by WordPress, the Divi theme has made it really easy to do. Simply click on this bottom bar button here, and then you can edit the footer credits. And then if you want the copyright symbol to show up, you just use the HTML copyright code. I'm going to paste in right here, which is ampersand copy semicolon, and then you can type in the date. And if you're interested in having this auto update, because right now you're going to have to manually adjust this, you will need to actually adjust the code. But there's a really easy way to do it. There's a great plugin that you can use that I'll link to in the description below, and I'll also have a little video on how to do that. So it's a plugin that will create a child theme for you and edit the code of your website for you so that you can do it just really easily and have it just automatically update so you don't have to think about it every year. It's a $10 plugin, but I think it's definitely well worth it if you want this to auto-update and just not have to worry about it. So that's another option for adjusting the footer. All right. And now buttons. So we're going to have like the default button style here. So typically with the Divi theme, the text color is white, and then the background color for the button is clear. But let's go ahead and change the default color for our button and make it match with one of our website's standard colors here already. So I'm going to use this orange color for that. And I just pasted it in right there, just like that. And then the border color, I'm also going to make that orange color so it's not white, which is what the default was. It's just orange. And I'm going to leave the text color white. And that's up to you, of course, the color you want. If you want to leave it the default colors, you can do that. But this is, and you can always change it, from button to button that you add to your website. You don't have to always have it like that. But this way, we've got, sort of a default button style right there. And we've got a default highlight color, so I'm going to make that the same color, but I'm actually just going to make it a little bit lighter. And then the button hover style, and then they'll change the border color also. Use the same color there for the border and the background, so when we hover over the button, it's going to get a little bit lighter as we hover over it, so our viewers know that that is a button. Under the blog settings here, we've got some choices for the font sizes for things like this byline here and other things. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Mobile styles we're going to leave alone. Color schemes we're going to leave alone. Menus we're going to leave alone for right now, but we're going to get to that later on. Widget areas we're going to leave alone. And this static front page is going to be one of the first things that we deal with when we start building our site, so we're going to leave that alone. So we've gone through all of these primary settings here, so we're going to click Save and Publish, and then we're going to close this. And the next thing we want to do is to do the module customizer, because inside the different modules, there's a lot of different color options, and we want to make sure that we're using the colors that we created, because that's why we did that, so we could just sort of quickly go through and have our site be branded with our colors. And there's a few other settings here too that we want to look at. So under image, for example, we've got this animation. I like to have no animation by default and then choose to add an animation when I create an image, because most images I don't want to animate onto the screen. I just want it to be standard. So we'll just change that to no animation. The gallery, so if you use a gallery, and you've got this zoom icon color here, which is sort of like a little plus sign that shows up on the gallery when you hover over the image. So we want to have that use one of our default colors. And I'm going to choose our sort of hero aqua color here. And then I'm just going to paste that in right there. I'm going to leave the hover overlay color white because I think it's going to look good with our hero color here, but that's something you can change. And in the blurb tab slider, there's also settings in here for font size. And so you may want to change the default font size of that to be a little bit bigger. I find that most themes make this a little bit smaller. So like for tabs, for example, I'm going to bump that up to 16 on the font size, just to make sure that it's really easy to read. And you can do that with the testimonial sections. And the pricing table, the same thing if you want to adjust the default size. Of course, every time you add a pricing table, you've got those options also. We're going through this in the beginning does make it really easy and a lot faster to start building your website. Okay, so those are the main settings that I want to adjust, and just so that you know, if one of the modules you're using it frequently and you're finding you're adjusting some of the settings all the time, you can come back here and adjust those settings. So just go back up to the top and click Save and Publish. And then we can close out of this. So that was the basic theme installation. That's basically how you install any premium WordPress theme that you download. And then we got the basic settings set up for our Divi theme. So now it's going to be a little bit faster for us to build our pages as we move forward. In the next video, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start making our first page. We're going to make this page right here, which is just a quick splash page that we can have up immediately on our website with some basic information about our company or our organization. And we're going to set up an email opt-in form, so if people want to find out more about our company, and then of course give the basic information about our company right up front, so we can have that all ready to go while we're building the rest of our website. We've got at least something that people who are interested in us can see right away. So go ahead and click on the next video to get started with that.